Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how you can integrate augmented reality quick look of iOS in Godot game engine. So basically we will be creating an iOS plugin to integrate augmented reality quick look in Godot game engine. Now what it is, firstly, if you have a 3D model which is in USDZ format, now if you have a GLTF model you can easily convert it to USDZ with the help of Blender. So if you have a USDZ model, or if you have a reality file, I'll show you what a reality file is later on. You can easily view that in augmented reality with few lines of code without having to worry about anything. So yeah, that's what this augmented reality quick look is from iOS or from Apple. I have already made a video about this, but that was in Objective C++, and I'm no longer using Objective C++. So this will be using Swift Godot. So let's get started. So first I will download one USDZ model as well as one reality file. So you can go to this URL, and Apple provides some good augmented reality like reality files as well as USDZ model. So I'll just use that. So we will be bundling this model with our app. If you want, you can download it, you can store it on your server and download it from there, but I don't want to get into that. I don't want to complicate things. So first I'll just download. So these three are reality files, so I will download this reality file of astronaut. Okay, and then we have this 3D model, so you can use whatever 3D model you feel like. So I'll just download this particular 3D model. Now the advantage of this reality files are they are created using a software called Reality Composer. I think that's what it is named. It is also from Apple, and it helps us to create kind of like short movie kind of a thing. Not exactly movies, but you can say animated 3D models. I mean, this particular 3D model which is there is also animated, but in this reality file you can add much more kind of animations or surroundings, those kind of stuff. So it kind of looks like a movie in itself. So yeah, that's what the difference basically is. That's what I understood. Anyways, let's get started. So first I have just created one cheat sheet, so don't get confused. So first we have to go to this particular URL. So this is the Swift Godot documentation which helps us to create a Godot like a Swift iOS plugin. So for this you need to have a Mac OS, and you also need to have Xcode installed. I already have Xcode installed, so I'll just open it. Then also I have just created one folder named Godot. It is an empty folder, you don't have to create it. It's just that there will be 3 different projects at the end of this tutorial. That's why I've created one parent folder. So it's up to you whether you want to create it or not. So just open Xcode, just go click on file, new, then you can just click on package, and here you will select multi-platform, select library, click next, click next, and here I will name it as my library. You can name it whatever name you feel like, but do remember this name because this name will be used in lot other places as well. If you're doing this for the very first time, creating an iOS plugin for Godot game engine, it's better you follow what I'm doing, but you can name it whatever you feel like. So I'll just go to the parent Godot folder and save this project, like create this project. So next what we have to do, again you can go to this documentation. They also do this, tell us the same thing. So here we have to add this dependency block. So again I have that inside my cheat sheet, so I'll just copy that. You can copy it from this documentation as well. So we have to add it after our product. So inside package.swift we first have to add this dependency block. So here once you add this, just press command S. So it will automatically download the Swift Godot dependency with the help of Swift package manager, so we don't have to worry too much. So here you can see it has downloaded it for us. Once that is done, again I'll just scroll down. Here we have to add platform, but we have to add platform iOS. So again I already have this. Let me just check where we have to add it after our name. So again come over here and add something like this. I have kept the minimum deployment as 17. When I kept it as 15, I have not tried with 16, but when I kept it as 15 I was facing a lot of issues. That's why I kept it as 17. I mean, Swift Godot threw a lot of issues at me which I don't know how to resolve. That's why I kept it at 17. Then we have to add this type dynamic as well. Let's see where we have to add it. We have to add it after library name, right? So we can just add it over here. Then we have to add this dependency section as well. So I'll just I'll just copy this. I'll scroll down, and here inside target name we have this dependency section. So just scroll down, after target name add a comma and paste it like this. Then I will just do a command A and control I just to improve the indentation. You don't have to do this, and if you want you can just press command S again just to be on the safer side. Now at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot does not support Swift version 6, so that's why I have to change this version to 5.10. But you can just check it on the Swift Godot repo whether it has upgraded to Swift 6 or higher version. If yes, then you can keep that version, keep using that version. Then we'll have to go to my library.swift file. Now I will cheat a little bit. I have already created this project before recording this tutorial, so I'll just copy some code and then I'll explain it to you. So I'll just open this. Okay, I'll copy everything and I'll just paste it inside my library.swift. So first we have to import UI kit, then we are importing Swift Godot, and for quick look we have to import quick look. This is boilerplate code from Swift Godot which we have to write. This should be your own library name. Then we are using @main actor as well as @Godot for this particular library, and this is extending ref counted. I think this is for memory management. I'm not sending any kind of data from this iOS plugin to Godot side. That's why I'm not using this signal. I have commented it out. If you want to use it, you can use a signal like this. Okay, and here we have created one method, so we will be calling this method from GD script side. That's why it is annotated with @callable. Here first we get hold of our root view controller, then we create this QL preview controller which is from quick look. Then here we create this preview delegate. So I have created a separate class for this. We can't directly extend this data source over here. It will give you an error when you try to build a framework out of it. That's why we have to create a separate class. So that's why I'm initializing it over here, and then I'm setting the data source as well as delegate to our preview delegate from our controller. And then we just get hold of our root view controller and present our preview controller, and animated is false. Then I have created one class called my preview delegate. Here we are extending QL preview controller delegate as well as QL preview controller data source. We override these two methods. Here I'm returning one. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because we are displaying one 3D model at a time. I could be wrong. I don't know why we are returning one over here. And here we again override this particular method. Here we have to write the name of our file. So first I will show you the reality file. So let's see what's the name of the reality file. It is cosmonaut suit _en, right? So that's what I will write over here. So please make sure you change the name of your file, and the extension was reality, so I'll keep it as it is. Later on I'll show you the USDZ as well. So it's same, you just have to change the name, so it's no big deal with USDZ as well. So yeah, that's what this is. Now what I'll do is I'll just close this. I'll close my cheat sheet as well. Now I will open this entire Godot folder which I had created inside VS Code. You don't have to do this. The reason I'm doing this because I need to create a build.sh file, and I always mess it up while creating via Xcode. That's why I'm doing it via VS Code. So if you see, this is our library which we had created, right? Inside this we just have to create this particular file name as build.sh. Okay, now inside this you can just go to this particular to this particular URL. I mean, open it. Again, shout out to this guy Stefan who helped me for creating my first Godot iOS plugin with Swift Godot. So what you have to do is just copy paste this code, and you just have to go to build.sh and paste it over here. You can use any editor you feel like. I'm just using VS Code because I'm more comfortable with it. Scroll up, and here you have to write your own library name. So my library name was just my library, so I'll write it over here. And there is one more thing which we need to do is just add this dash skip macro validation and a backslash as well. This was causing some issues. If I don't add this, it was causing some issues for me. That's why I just add this. I don't really know what's the use of it. Then we just have to open our terminal. We have to cd to our library, so my library. Okay, and first we just need to run this particular command. So I'll just copy this, I'll paste it over here. Then I need to run this command. Now I'm not planning to deploy this app to Apple App Store. That's why I'm only generating the debug framework. But if you are planning it to deploy to Apple App Store, you should generate release framework as well. You just have to replace this word debug with release. That's it. So I'll just copy this, I'll paste it over here. Now this will take a little bit of time, so let it do its thing. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll just open the Godot game engine. At the time of me recording this video, I'm using Godot 4.3.0, but I think there won't be any breaking changes as such in future version of Godot as well. So I'll just click on this create folder. I will browse to the documents folder which I had in which I created downloads. Inside this I created this Godot folder, right? So inside that I'll create my Godot project. I'll name it as just my Godot project. You can again name it, feel free to name it whatever you feel like. And I'll just click on create and edit. Okay, so let's just wait for a second, and then here I will create a 2D scene. I'll quickly save it as well, and I will try to run it because I want my current scene to be selected. Otherwise, if you forget this again, you will face issues later on. So yeah, this is fine. I'll just dismiss it. Then I'll just create one button. That's all we need. So on click of the button, we open the augmented reality quick look. So I'll just, here is my button, and I'll just name it as open. You may feel free to name it whatever you feel like. Change the font size if you want. Then I will just attach one script as well over here. And here I'll go back to my button. I'll go to our node and I will add this press signal as well. Then we have to go to project, export, add, iOS, click on this fix import. Make sure you add your App Store team ID. If you don't know how to get your App Store team ID, you can go to this particular URL over here. It will tell you how to get your App Store team ID as well. Once you do that, I will enter my App Store team ID later on. Here you have to give some bundle identifier as well. So I'll just give it as com.nobody.mygame. Make sure you give your App Store team ID. It should be com. Make sure you give your App Store team ID because we need this. Otherwise, this export project button will not be enabled. Okay, I'll give it later on. Then again, I'll just cheat a little. I will just go to my old project and I'll just copy some code. My Godot project, it is in .gd file. Okay, so first I'll create this particular variable which will hold our library. Okay, so this is just a simple variable. Then again I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So here we initialize our library. We don't need this last line. I'll remove this. So here we just initialize our library. This should be your library name as well as this should be your library name. Then on button press we just call this method open quick look which we have created. So that's what I'll paste it over here. So pretty simple. Next what you need to do is, again I'll just go back to my cheat sheet. Here you can see inside VS Code it has also automatically opened my Godot project, right, because it was part of the main Godot folder. So the next thing which you have to do, again if you want you can do it from the Godot game engine as well. Inside your Godot project you will have to create a folder called bin, and inside that you will have to create a file called whatever is your library name .gd extension. So I'll just create it. Now the problem is, if I try to open this .gd extension file from Godot game engine, I'm not able to open it. I don't know why. That's why I'm using VS Code. Now inside that .gd extension file we have to copy this code and I'll paste it over here. Again, if you have generating release mode, you will have to replace debug with release over here as well as over here. Okay, so that is done. And also if we come back to our terminal, our library has also been created. So what I can do is I can just go back to my Godot folder. I can go to library, I can go to bin, I can go to iOS, and I'll just copy this .2 framework files folders which have been created. Then I'll go back to my Godot project. I'll go to bin and I'll paste it over here. And then again come back to our Godot game engine. Make sure you save it. We need to export our project. Before exporting our project, what I'll do, inside the main Godot folder I'll create one more folder called iOS. You can name it whatever you feel like. It's just that before export, like after exporting our iOS project from Godot game engine, it will create lot of files. That's why I've created a separate folder for it. So just go to project, export, click on export project, and here you can go to the iOS folder which I have created, and I'll click on save. Now this will take little bit of time to export, so yeah, just be patient. All right, so here you can see my project was exported successfully. Then I can just go to the iOS folder. I can double click on this .xcode proj file. It will open it inside Xcode for me. And then before running it, we have to drag and drop the reality file which we were using. Do note that if you export your project again, the reality file which we have dragged will get lost. I don't know a better way around this, so I will just drag and drop it and make sure this target checkbox is checked. I'll click on finish. Now I will just run this app on a real device. So let's just wait for this to finish. For the very first time, okay, I'll just mirror my device in the meantime. Okay, so as I was saying, it's important you run it on a real device. It will not work on a simulator because firstly it is an augmented reality feature which won't work on a simulator. Secondly, Godot uses this graphics thing like Vulkan, which again I don't understand. That won't run on a simulator. Also, for the very first time when you run it, you might face some like it might not run it for you. That's why I'm showing this. I think this is taking a bit time. This doesn't happen typically. Whenever you update something, like when Xcode updates or when your Mac OS updates or iPad updates, then this thing happens. So I think this will take a bit of time. So once this is done, I will come back again and show you guys the output. Okay, so here is the output. Now I will just click on this open button, and it should automatically open augmented reality for us. It doesn't even ask the camera permission. So here you can see, I'm not sure, I think it is still asking me for some light. Here you can see, this is the reality file, and the advantage of the reality file is apart from animation it also plays audio file. So here you can see it is automatically playing the file for us. I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it looks like a real person. So yeah, I can tap on it and it will show me something. Tap on this as well. So it is also playing some animation as well as showing us some points. So yeah, that's about reality files. You can play around with it. I'll just stop this. Same thing goes for 3D UHDZ models as well. So all we need to do is, if you want to stop the video, you can right now. I will be showing you guys the same thing, nothing special. So here is my UHDZ model, right? So I'll just copy its name. I'll just go back to my library code. I'll just replace it over here, and the extension was UHDZ. So instead of reality, I'll just write UHDZ. I'll save it. Again, I'll go back to my terminal. I'll run this command again, so it will create the libraries for us. So let's just wait for that. In the meantime, I'll just go back to our Godot folder. So it has already created this. I'll go back to our library. I'll go back to bin. I'll go to iOS. I'll copy this to .framework folders. I'll come back to my Godot project. I'll come back to bin and I'll paste it over here. I'll apply to all replace. Okay, then I'll just go back to our Godot game engine. I'll click on export project. I'm already inside iOS folder. I'll click on save. I'll click OK. So it will just override all the things which I have. So now Xcode, I will inside Xcode I can just use version on disk. Select that particular option. So let's just wait for this export to finish. Once the export is finished, again you can just run it on your real device, and I will show you guys the output. Alright, so the export was successful, and I'll just run my project again just to show you guys the output. The output will be pretty much the same with just the model being replaced, so nothing new. Okay, so here is my output. I'll click on the open button again. Oh, I forgot one thing. I forgot to drag and drop the 3D model inside our iOS project. So I'll just go back to downloads. Here is our 3D model. We'll just, oh, not to our library. Sorry, this one. Okay, to our main Godot project. So this was the file, right? We'll just drag it, drop inside our Godot project. Click on finish, and I'll run our application again. So I think this is this you will miss a lot, so just be careful. I'll click on open, and here you can see it is still trying to identify my surface, and here you can see it is, I can zoom in as well. So hopefully you got the point. If you want to view it in 3D way as well, there is an object tab available. You can click on that, and it will show you the 3D model as well. Again, you can zoom in, zoom out as well. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you got the point. Thank you for watching. Bye. Sorry, I was not mirroring my device. Sorry about that. I will just here show you guys one more time. I'll click over here. Here you can see this is our 3D model. Yeah, sorry. And here is our object. Uh, so hopefully you got the point. Thank you for watching. Bye.